Radio Sai now brings you a talk by Sri S.S. Naganand, an eminent lawyer and member of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, delivered at the Flushing Sai Center in New York on 22nd May 2011. This talk is in two parts, and we now bring you the first part of this talk.
Brothers and sisters, it is my distinct honor to welcome and introduce a very distinguished messenger of our beloved Lord, Sri S.S. Naganand. The Naganand is an attorney for the last 25 years. He has practiced as a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India as well as the High Court of Karnataka. He's held many eminent positions, including the Vice President of the Commission of Jurists back home in India. But I'm sure he will agree when I say that the one position, the one role that he will always cherish throughout his life is the one that our beloved Swami bestowed on him, to serve Swami as a member of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust in Puttaparthi. He was actually a trustee in the medical trust before its merger last December, and now he serves Swami as a member of the Sathya Sai Central Trust. He's here to share his very unique perspective with all of us. Brothers and sisters, let's give a very loving welcome to all these distinguished messengers of Swami.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble and reverential pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Dear devotees and friends, we are gathered here today in a very, very trying situation. Why I say trying is that when you are in your father's house, your parents are looking after you, you have not a care in the world. Any difficulty that comes your way, you run to your parents and you place it before them and they solve it like this. I lost my father in 1996 and I know how I felt after that, because he was also my guru in the profession. I was a junior with him for a number of years. No problem was insurmountable because he was always there to guide and tell us what to do. As we got along in life, Bhagwan completely took over that responsibility and made us at ease. My family, my children, later my grandchild, and all our professional colleagues, all the activities of Swami that he blessed me to be involved in. Every single thing. When the Bangalore hospital was being built in 2001, one day, I have a formal talk, but I will just come to that after this small story to tell you how Bhagwan took care. I was sitting in the Sai Ramesh hall. Swami came for his darshan. As he crossed me, he made a sign that I should go inside. And I quickly hurried and went inside. Swami finished his darshan and he was walking back. He looked at me and he said, "Nodidya hospital lo? Have you seen the hospital?" So I told him, "Yes Swami, I know that construction has started, but I have not gone." So immediately he called Mr. Sood, the architect, and told him, "Inko leke jao, sab batao." And Swami was there during monsoon and it was raining every day. That day after Swami said this and went inside, it poured and poured and poured. And the whole area where the excavation was being done was completely waterlogged and it was full of mud. There's no way that I could go inside. So then I thought to myself that maybe, I'll leave it for a day and go the next day. And I went away. But throughout the day it was, troubling my mind. Swami said, "Go and see," so I cannot be delayed. So I came back in the afternoon and I went and had a look at the place. Of course I couldn't get down and took around and came back. And as I expected in the evening, Swami asked, "Did you go?" So I said, "Yes Swami, I went and came." "How is the work?" I said, "Work has just started." But in this interregnum, what happened was, after I visited and I came back to ashram, I asked them, "Where is the plan sanctioned?" So they said, "What plan sanctioned? We haven't got a sanctioned plan." I said, "What do you mean? You started excavation and there is no sanctioned plan from the local authority." So he said, "No, we have submitted it and they haven't yet processed it." I said, "We are in deep trouble. We can't start construction without having a local planning authority for the construction. It's obvious. And Swami says, don't violate any law." Therefore, I thought about it and I told them, "Sorry, we have to stop the work. You can't do anything without a plan being sanctioned." So frantically we called a number of people and we learned the problem was, everything was fine. There was no problem with the plan at all. But the authority was not sanctioning it because this land was given by the government to the trust. But the government had to reimburse some administrative charges to the industrial area board which had made the layout. And they said, till the government gives us that money, we are not going to sanction the plan. So we called and the minister was informed about it, and of course immediately everything started moving, and the minister called back to say, Swami is in Vrindavan, can I come for darshan tomorrow and hand over the sanction plan myself? So then we were very pleased, thinking that everything is going to go fine. And actually the plan was approved. The next morning we were sitting in darshan. As I came in to sit down in Sai Ramesh hall, I looked around and I found the minister was seated there. So I said to myself, wow, I think all our problems are solved. Before I could say anything, Mr. Satish Naik came to me and said, sir, minister has come. I said, yes, I saw him. I hope he's going to give the sanction plan. He said, no sir, last evening at 7 o'clock we were called to his office. He handed over the plan to us there, sanctioned. And he said, I just want to come and pray to Bhagwan and take his blessing. You can go and hand over the plan and report to Bhagwan that everything is done. So this is how Swami's work goes on. And after this episode, Swami called me and said, you have to be a trustee in the medical trust. I was sort of taken aback. I said, Swami, I'm so young. I've just sort of lost my father and there's a lot of pressure on my time and I travel a lot. I don't think I have the capacity to look after medical trust at all. I'm not a doctor. So Swami said, no, you be there. I went on protesting to say, I held Swami's feet very firmly. Swami, no, please, you can't do this to me. You have to relieve me. You can't give me this responsibility. But Swami very lovingly held my hand and said, Bangaru, you just be there. I will do everything. So I said, Swami, if that is your assurance, then I will be there. He said, I'm telling you, you just be there. So sweetly, so nicely he told me this. So like that, Bhagwan was always there for us at a physical level. And now that he is not there, we are in a quandary. So I think the time has now come. Bhagwan has sort of over the years told us so many things which will help us henceforth to lead our lives in the way that he wanted us to lead. So with this at the back of our minds, let us try to understand what is it that Bhagwan has created. How is it that he has created? Now the organization. At the apex level, we have the Sathya Sai Central Trust. Bhagwan was the sole trustee. Right from the time the trust was set up in 1972 till very recently last year, except for a very brief period when there were two other trustees on the Central Trust and later they also remitted office. So for most of the time, practically from 72, Bhagwan was the sole trustee. He used to look after every single rupee that was spent in the Central Trust was done directly by Bhagwan. He used to sign all the checks. He was the only check signing authority. And he paid lot of care, lot of attention. Not 1 rupee more would be spent. So all these years, Bhagwan looked after the trust himself. And Bhagwan himself raised the topic and said, it is time now for you to think of a methodology by which the trust will stand in good stead after me. He made this clear to me. And we discussed, debated, I placed number of proposals before Bhagwan. Finally, last year, Bhagwan approved the reconstitution of the Central Trust. He inducted 5 trustees, Sri Indulal Shah, Justice Bhagwati, Sri Giri, Srinivasan and Ratnakar. And expanded Council of Management included 4 people. Mr. Chakravarti continued as Secretary, J.V. Shetty, Bhagavat and myself. This was the Board of Trustees in the Council of Management that Bhagwan individually picked, chose. There was no discussion with anybody. It was Bhagwan's decision of his own. And that announcement was made by Justice Bhagwati. And the reconstituted Board of Trustees and Council Management started meeting. Before I go forward, not that we need to take such serious notice about all the nonsense that is printed in the newspapers, but just for your information, I'm sure many of you do not know these facts. And it is for that reason that I'm sharing this. Not with an idea of trying to dispel doubts in the minds of anybody, but to call the bluff of all the media. But it is important for you to know what kind of sacrifices people on this board have made. I'll start with Mr. Chakravarti, 1981. He was a young IAS officer, 2 children. He would have risen to be the highest position. He was a batchmate of Justice Mr. Yashwant Sinha, who later became Finance Minister. and a person of such fantastic caliber. I don't think there's any other person that I have met who would probably fit the bill like him. 81 he came to Bhagwan. He was district collector Anantapur, and little later he came and joined. Swami asked him to be the registrar of the Sathya Sai University when it was started. From that time till now, believe it or not, he must have left the ashram not more than 10 times. Ever, from 1981 till now. He did not attend the weddings of both his children. He has 2 sons. Both of them got married. He did not go for the weddings. He went for brief 1 or 2 day period when his mother passed away. Whenever he left the ashram, it was for Swami's work. When the water project was being done, Mr. Chakravarti is given the task or responsibility of overseeing the work in Anantapur district. Every day for 1 whole year, he left the ashram at 5:30 or so in the morning, returned at 9 in the night. Every day, this was his routine. No Monday, no Sunday, nothing. His job was to go and facilitate the completion of the work. Entire period he was there. Anybody heard that Chakravarti was involved in the water project and what work he did? I'm sure none of you know about it, or many of you may not know about it. He came once to Bangalore. There was a document to be done. He drove his car himself. He called me to say, I'm coming, this document has to be done. I said, yes, please do come. My house is at the entrance of Bangalore. I gave him directions. He came, parked the car in my house. We went straight to Sub-Registrar's office, finished the work about 12 o'clock, and I told him, sir, if you don't mind, please have lunch in my house and then you can go. Anyway, my house is on the way, your car is also there. I said, all right. He came home, we served him lunch, he talked to us for 15 minutes, took his car, drove back. Swami those days used to come for darshan at 3 o'clock. By 3 o'clock or 3:30, he was back at Swami's doorstep to report to him that he had left in the morning after Swami's darshan, came to Bangalore, finished the work, had lunch in my house, and back reporting with the document to Swami. I don't know, any of you know, he has a 1-room house. His wife doesn't keep very good health. Only 2 of them live in that house. There is no place for a guest to go and sit inside. Now, he is a man who would have occupied very high positions in government. His dedication to Swami is to be seen, to be believed. He is one person. Mr. Giri, another person. He was the Chief Vigilance Commissioner of India. He was also a very senior IAS officer, Education Secretary. He came to Swami, he came to serve Swami. He was the Vice Chancellor of the University. Number of responsibilities given to him. He has always been beside Swami everywhere. Swami has taken him to all his trips. Anywhere that Swami travelled, Giri was always with Swami. And he is like a person who gives some confidence. He's been living in the ashram. He has only 1 daughter who lives in New Jersey. Maybe once in 5 years or so. Last time he came to US, I think was 4 or 5 years ago. He came for 2 or 3 weeks, spent 3 weeks and went back. Complete dedication. Mr. V. Srinivasan, very senior person in business. He held many important positions. He was national president of the Confederation of Indian Industry, himself an industrialist. I would regard him as a very respected businessman, presiding over a large business empire. More than 75% of his time he spends on Swami's work. He is All India President. You must see the kind of travel that he does, the schedule that he keeps. He is in his mid-70s. And complete 100% dedication. If Swami goes to Kodaikanal, he is there 15 days before, cleaning this, that, 101 things, thinking of every possible thing that Swami might want is prepared and got ready. He is a person who is completely sacrificed. Indulal Shah, a long-standing devotee of Bhagwan, and he has been instrumental in guiding all the trusts right from the time the Maharashtra Trust was set up, even before the Central Trust. Senior chartered accountant, very advanced in his age, very sharp even now. Justice Bhagwati, all of you know, was a pioneer. He was the Chief Justice of India, a man who was extremely erudite, required in every part of the world. He comes to Geneva even now. He is connected with the United Nations. He always says, everything that I have achieved, I owe it to Bhagwan. He makes it very clear. J.V. Shetty and T.K. Bhagwat were both chairmen of very leading banks in the country. And Chakravarti, as I've already told you, and I happen to be a lawyer, and that's probably the reason why I'm also there, because Swami always jocularly used to refer to me. Sometimes if I'm in the company of someone and Swami is talking to somebody, in many interviews it has happened, he will ask others, do you know who he is? And some will say yes, they know, some will say no, Swami, we don't know. He is my lawyer. Beware, he is my lawyer. Central Trust is one. There are many other activities that are going on. All medical relief activity, as you all are aware, the earliest medical relief activity was started in Bangalore actually, the small general hospital. Swami used to call it the small hospital. That is a hospital where first time medical relief activity was started. It was in a very small, humble way in Whitefield. It was a trust of which Swami was the trustee, and Mr. Sri S.S. used to look after the running of that hospital. And it was being run as an independent facility. Then the general hospital in Puttaparthi was originally being run by the Central Trust itself. The two super speciality hospitals in Bangalore and Whitefield were run by the Sathya Sai Medical Trust. The medical trust was set up in 91 when the Puttaparthi super speciality hospital was built. Towards the end of it, there were three trustees, Bhagwan himself, Mr. V. Srinivasan and I. Indulal Shah was the trustee for some time, but later due to his indifferent health, he could not continue and therefore he demitted office. So the medical trust with these three members used to look after all medical relief activity till the 1st of December last year, when a decision was taken by Bhagwan that all charitable activities of all the institutions must be done under the auspices of the Central Trust. So the medical relief activities, all of them were taken over and transferred to the Central Trust. And from 1st of December, Central Trust is directly administering both the hospitals, the mobile hospital, and all the medical relief activity that is being done. The medical trust as a legal entity still continues for some formalities to be completed, and after that, in due course, I think the medical trust will see an end because all activities are being done by the Central Trust. Then you have another trust in recent years formed was the Media Foundation. When the boom came, the internet revolution came, and the need to become more tech savvy and address the world's requirements came. A proposal was mooted. Bhagwan considered it and permitted the setting up of a trust called the Sathya Sai Media Foundation. We have 2 or 3 trustees on that. Dr. Venkatraman is the one who actually is the heart and soul of the Media Foundation, because the main role of the Media Foundation is to provide all the music that you hear, the Radio Sai website that you hear, the 2 digital studios that we have, the audio studio and the video studio, all the information that is being churned out, and the heart-to-heart magazine that is electronic magazine that all of you could see on the internet. All of that is being done by the Media Foundation, and they're also now in the process of planning an archive to collect and keep all of Swami's memorabilia, the old photographs, and we have already started collecting it in the last 1 or 2 years. And we have a sizable quantum of those tapes and old photographs and things like that. So the Media Foundation is that. And then in the Media Foundation you also have 2 or 3 other trustees. Mr. Lakshmi Narayan is there, I am there. And I think Gopal Srinivasan is also there. Then the Sathya Sai Sadhana Trust. All of you are aware of the book trust, the Bhakta Sahayak Sangh. Those of you who come to Prasanthi Nilayam would have certainly seen it. And the media division. Now, the charitable trusts, all the others are charitable trusts. They cannot do business. There was a recent amendment to the Indian Income Tax Act which said the charitable trusts which do any business will lose their exemption. And therefore, when the amendment was on the anvil, we considered it. I must tell you about Mr. Lakshmarana now. Mr. Lakshmarana was the Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, a very senior IRS officer. He held very important positions in government. He was the Chief Commissioner Bangalore, Chief Commissioner Bombay, and later after he retired, he became a member of a high-powered electricity regulatory commission in the state of Andhra Pradesh. He finished his tenure, and after he retired, he has an aged mother who is 92 years. His children are all elsewhere. He decided to come and serve Swami, so he came to Prasanthi. He used to come earlier also. After retirement, he came, and he told Swami, Swami, I want to be here, I want to do some service. And Swami made him wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. For over 1 year, Mr. Lakshminarayan was just sitting and waiting for Swami to give him some assignment. Every time he would say, Swami, yemaro pani andi. I would say, undu, wait. And after 1.5 years of waiting, Swami finally designated him as the coordinator of the medical trust, because we needed a coordinator's office when 2 trusts, 2 hospitals functioning elsewhere, 3 other medical relief activities, all the purchases, everything to be streamlined. It's an important role to play. So he was given that task. Now he has again left everything. His only intention and aim is to come and live in Prasanthi Nilayam and serve. He has a flat, he has a house, he has properties, he could stay anywhere under the sun, but he is staying there. Mr. Prasad Rao, who also assists him, is also another former IAS officer who after retirement sold away all his properties and gave the entire sale proceeds to the trust. He had a site which he had got long ago. He sold the site, lock, stock and barrel, burnt all his boats and comes and lives in one room in Prasanthi Nilayam with his wife. They are here to serve. Now if newspapers write to say that, there's some financial impropriety, they don't understand, they cannot understand or comprehend an institution or an organization which has people who have given everything up. Whatever they owned and possessed, they have given it to this trust. And by Bhagwan's grace, they have been permitted to come and do some seva, service there. Sometimes if I go and a cup of coffee has to be got, Mr. Lakshminarayan will actually get up and go and get me a cup of coffee, Why do they have to do these things? It's only because of their complete surrender, Sharanagati. And if somebody says something like this about people of this caliber, we can only say they don't know. They cannot understand. It is incomprehensible as to how in today's world you can have such people serving Swami. And all of this is only because of their love and dedication for Swami. And Swami's mutual love and respect for them. And Swami knows all these people, the names I am mentioning, including myself. Swami knows us. He knows our parents. He knows our children. He knows our grandchildren. He's seen all of us. Many of us, my marriage was actually celebrated by Bhagwan. Like this, many of us, our family is completely taken care of by Bhagwan from A to Z. From my education, before I qualified in 1978, I went to Prasanthi Nilayam with my father. On birthday, Swami called all of us. I had just taken my intermediate chartered accountant examination. He called, spent so much time and he told me, you're a Vidyarthi, don't become a Vishyarthi now. Concentrate on Vidya. And that blessing was in my mind all the time. By the time I was 22 years, I had got 3 professional qualifications. I became a lawyer, a chartered accountant, and a company secretary altogether. It was only His grace, there's nothing else. And He guided everybody in the right. I'm not saying only about me, but about everybody else. I can tell you about all the trustees. Indulal Shah, when Mrs. Shah was unwell 2 years ago, believe it or not, Swami was so upset. They chartered a flight. Swami went from Bangalore, landed in Bombay, went straight to Indubai's house, didn't go anywhere, nobody else knew also. Spent the whole day there, blessed her and came back. And few months later, Mrs. Indulal Shah recovered well, she came back and participated. Even last birthday is the only time that she could not come. Otherwise, she's been coming all the time, in spite of her indifferent health. Just look at the care. Who would go from Bangalore to Bombay in a chartered flight? Go to their house and look after them. I still remember when we were in Kodaikanal once, one of the devotees who was with us on that trip suddenly took ill. And in the night she had to be admitted to hospital there. First thing that Swami, when he came to know in the morning, as soon as Swami opened the door, he was informed. In less than 1 hour, Swami went to see her in the hospital. Why would somebody do that? Why does Swami do such things? And why is it that we all feel like this about Swami? Is because Swami knows all of us. He knows every single thing. He knows my granddaughter. He knew that my granddaughter was coming before her mother knew that the child had been conceived, because he asked those questions in an interview few days before my daughter knew about her own pregnancy. And he looks after the child. He pats her, he talks to her, and she tells Swami, Swami, I like this place very much. I like to come here all the time. She's just 2 years old. How does that happen? It only happens because this is how Swami has treated all of us. So this love and affection and giving and all of that, all of them, I can go on the whole day if you want about all of them, but I think I'll go to the next topic, because we need to understand that this is how Swami works. Then the sadhana trust. In the sadhana trust there were 3 various activities which had a flavor of being business. So this is a religious trust. Bhagwan had never set up a religious trust. This is the only religious trust he permitted. Religious trust is not for any particular religion. It was for any religious activity. Sarva Dharma Samanvaya, all of that. And because of the tax regulations requiring it, this trust was set up. So now the books trust, Ishwarama Women's Welfare, some trading activity, and some trading activity of the media division, the Bhakta Sahayak Sangh are all forming part of the Sadhana Trust. The 4 heads of each of these divisions are trustees there and they look after it. I merely assisted in the formation of the trust till the induction of the new trustees, and then I demitted office. Then there is the Sathya Sai Ishwarama Women's Welfare Project or Foundation. Swami blessed this some years ago, personally selected who the trustees should be. There were 3 trustees, Mrs. Chaitana Raju, Mrs. Venu Srinivasan and my wife, and he gave them a task. He said, this is what you need to do. This is the role. This is how you have to help village women. This is the vocational service training that is to be done. Antenatal, postnatal care in the villages you have to do. This is what Swami directly guided them. That trust is also functioning from Prasanthi Nilayam, directly aided and assisted. There are various state trusts all over the country. There are Madras, Bombay, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka. All these have state trusts. And each of the state trusts has some property. There are trustees who look after it. Swami is a trustee in many of them. And the last one is Sathya Sai Lok Seva Trust, which is a very big trust which has a base in Alike in South Canara. That is the trust which owns the Muddenhalli property where the new campus is going to be. Actually, today is Sunday. Indian time this morning was the inauguration of the new buildings in the Muddenhalli campus. And the day I land is inauguration of the new building in the Anantapur campus. In the Sathya Sai Lok Seva Trust, Swami was the sole trustee and recently it has been reconstituted and new members have been appointed. These are the other trusts which are all directly operating. Now why I am giving you some details of this is many people do not know. They think everything was being done by the ashram, everything was being done by Swami. So who is going to do all these things? Now all these entities have a legal foundation, legal basis. There are trustees in place. There are councils of management in place. Very eminent people are serving on all of them. All persons who serve are serving in honorary capacity. We don't take 1 rupee or 1 naya paise from any of the trusts for anything. Any expense that we incur for travelling, etc. is our own account. There's no reimbursement of any kind to anybody. If at all, persons who are involved are all donating monies to these trusts. All of us are donating monies in addition to donating time and effort and energy, everything. So the question of taking anything from the trust just does not arise. So that's how these trusts are functioning. So just to allay the fears that there is nothing that is going to happen which is going to change all these things, because these are all perfectly put in place. And we have such eminent people who have sacrificed so greatly, and those institutions will run, they will continue to run, and I don't foresee any difficulty at all. Mahasamadhi, I think number of things happened. I will briefly tell you what happened. A couple of days, Swami did not come for darshan. On the 28th of March, the day he was admitted, the previous day I was in Yajur Mandir. The usual pattern was that Swami would come down kindly at about 6 o'clock, spend a little time with us if he felt like. Otherwise, he would immediately come out for darshan. After giving darshan, he would come back. And depending on how Swami felt, he would talk to us. He would give us instructions. Whatever we had to place, we would place. Then he would invite us for dinner. Swami would probably some days eat on his own and then ask us to come, or some days call all of us. Some days the dinner went on. I remember a month ago, the dinner table discussion finished at 11:45 in the night. It was a kind of record. Nobody had ever, dreamt of it. That Swami is sitting at the dining table till 11:45 that night, talking about everything, guiding us on so many things, sometimes joking, sometimes being very quiet. He is complete, full-fledged, how Swami was in the past. He was like that all the time. So suddenly he stopped coming in the morning. Swami started giving darshan in the evenings. Then it became one day after another day. It was not every day. It was one alternate day. And so if Swami did not give darshan on Saturday, we thought Sunday surely Swami will give darshan. But that Sunday Swami did not give darshan. In the night there was a bit of a problem. I think there was a little arrhythmia in his heart. So the doctors were summoned. And about 4 to 5 months prior to this, Swami selected the doctors who should treat him. I mean, all of you, I think, are aware. The question of somebody telling Swami that you go here, you go see this doctor, you take this treatment doesn't arise. Because Swami was so fiercely independent and took his own decisions. We could only make a request to say permit this, permit that. That's it for ours, for the organization, for the trust. But no question of saying anything to Bhagwan for himself. So he selected the doctors. And the doctors were there every weekend. Normally I was there. sometimes more than once in a week. Every time the doctors were there in the Hajur Mandir, Swami used to talk to them, used to consult them. They were allowed to treat Bhagwan. So those are the doctors who were with him, and that night they were there and they took a decision that it was not necessary to move Bhagwan to the hospital on that Sunday night. But on Monday, the decision to move was taken. And as soon as he went to hospital, they had to do a procedure for him. A heart pacemaker was put in. A couple of days later, a balloon intra-aortic pump was placed to assist the heart. And the condition went on, and all of you have seen the medical bulletins. 2 bulletins a day was issued, up and down, his health went on. The government of Andhra Pradesh put a big team of doctors. They said, anything you want from anywhere, just tell us and we are there to give you. The press said, these guys are going to take over the trust. Andhra government said, no question of takeover. We only want here to come and do seva for Bhagwan. If you people want any help, tell us. We are ready to put. And the law and order situation was such that they said, we'll put 3,000 policemen to control the crowd, because the crowd went to 5.5 lakhs on the Mahant Samadhi day. 4 kilometers long queue was there. There was no pushing, no pulling. Everything was peaceful. Water was given to them. Food was given to them. Even the arrangement to place all their slippers in one place so that they can collect it later was made. Every single thing was made. By who? It was all made by devotees only. Not these 5 trustees. Out of 5 trustees, it is impossible for these people or any one of us to think of doing it. Unless people like Dr. Gui and others who are dedicating their entire life to service, if they don't serve, what can we do? And why are they serving? They are only serving because of Bhagwan. And every single person who filed past those 5 lakhs, I was sitting at the back for quite a long time, I saw every single person, some were coming on their knees, some were being pushed in by wheelchairs, some were being carried on the shoulder, some was being helped. Some was, 2 people were carrying a person and coming. All of them just came and they all had tears in their eyes. They just wanted to have Swami's darshan. They did not want anything. There was no pushing, there was no pulling, nothing. Beautifully everything went on. How did all that happen? Obviously it is only because of Bhagwan. Obviously it is because of the love and affection that people have for Bhagwan. In fact, that night, it's a long story, I think for want of time I won't be able to share that with you. I happened to be in Gaya that day, in Vishnupada temple, when I got this news, and I had to finish whatever I had to do, and by Swami's grace I had to do the Tarpana for Swami in Vishnupada Gaya on that morning. And I took a flight and reached Bangalore at about 11:50 or 12 o'clock midnight. My daughter came to pick me up and we drove straight from there to Puttaparthi. We reached there at about 2 or 2:30. We saw on the roads, they diverted a lot of traffic through the village roads. There were hundreds of people, ladies, children walking on the village roads with flashlights and torches in their hands. When, we looked and they said they're coming back from darshan or they're going for darshan. They're all from a remote village. Probably there's no bus or anything like that. They would probably have to walk 5-6 miles in the middle of the night to go and have darshan. And why did that happen? It all happened because of the personality of Bhagwan. So things happened so quickly after that arrangements had to be made. All the trustees met. We all discussed. We all debated. There was no difference of opinion of any kind. Everybody agreed that this is to be done. And everything was done so smoothly. The day after the Mahasamadhi, we had the first meeting of the Board of Trustees. There were some important decisions to be taken. Quickly the decisions were taken. In 30 minutes we finished the decisions. Because that very afternoon I had to leave to Bangalore for some meeting, and the next day I flew out to US. Now the eternal message. I think it's time now for us to reflect. These 5 words, all of us have heard. There's not a single person here who might not have heard this. These are concepts. These are precepts which Bhagwan has taught us. And all these are easily understood by all of us. Though it is in Sanskrit, but it is very much part of many Indian languages. And even for the foreigners, it's a very simple concept that you have to think of. Satya, truth. At all times, truth. I still remember just before the press conference, there was a big discussion and a debate that all of us had as to what we're going to say, what we're not going to say. Many questions arose where there are 2 views possible. And I told them only one thing. I said, sir, first and foremost, what did Swami teach us? He said, state the truth. I said, why do we have to think of any untruth? Where is the need for us to say anything which is other than truth? They'll ask you questions about Swami's health, why he did not take care. There's some silly questions like saying why Swami was not fed. I mean, we know We have seen Swami, we have sat with Swami, we have seen what he is actually eating. We can only make a humble prayer to him, Swami, you have to eat, please eat 1/2 chapati more. We can make that prayer to him. Please drink a little bit more water. But if Swami says, matter ends, no? What can you do about it? And this prayer we all made. So this rumor about Swami was not fed, he was not given drugs, he gave some other drug, all that is complete bunkum. There's nothing in it. So what should we say for these questions? I said, let's state the truth. We'll say what drug Swami was taking, which is the doctor treating Swami. If I am unwell, I go to a doctor, I select the doctor is treating me, every day the doctor is seeing me, he's seeing my prescription, he's seeing my condition, he's seeing my blood pressure, he's seeing me, everything. He's prescribing. And sometimes the doctor is sitting for dinner also with Swami, with all of us together. And he's talking to them also. So what more do we have to say? We have to say, we really don't know. To the extent we know, and tell you truthfully, there is nothing to hide, there's nothing to put mirchi masala into anything. State the truth. So the first principle, stick by the truth at all times. Even if you are going to be in difficulty, even if you are going to be embarrassed. Most importantly, please notice that these first and second concepts are eternal values. They are universal. Many people have the feeling or thinking that Veda is very much part of Hinduism. It is relevant only for Hindus. That is why if you carefully understand, the word Sanatana Dharma denotes what Hindu principles are. Sanatana means that which is good for all time to come. These are values, eternal values. They are values for every religion. No religion will tell or propound its followers to say, you must state the untruth, you must be violent, you must kill people, as many as possible. No religion says that. We all know it. Swami propounded it and he lived it. Swami has said in so many discourses, I am Sathya. And Swami always spoke in a language which always had two meanings. I am Sathya means his name is Sathya, that he is the embodiment of truth, that Swami always speaks truth. These are the 3 or 4 facets of it. So truth is something which we all understand. Dharma, righteousness, do the right thing. What is the right thing? The right thing is, ask that conscience right inside you. Should I do this? Should I not do this? All the time, instantaneously, just like you're on a 4G internet, you just key in and before you can blink your eyelid, there it is right in front of you. In the same way, in 5G speed, you get an answer from inside you for every question that you pose. That answer is the one which one should follow. Simple. No doubt about it. Shanti, prema and ahimsa. Shanti is peace. Peace where? Peace everywhere. Not pieces. Swami used to always talk, don't be pieces, we have peace. Prema is universal love. How can you have an enemy if you follow Swami's precept of saying, love all? Can you ever have an enemy? Somebody has hurt you very badly, your ego is very hurt. You see that man, you're boiling inside. Remember Swami's word, love all. You have to go to him and hug him. Can you do it? As human beings, we find very, very difficult. Very difficult. Why? So many things hold us. Our ego holds us, our position holds us, so many things. But if you overcome that, and you say, well, I am going to love everybody. Even if somebody has treated you badly, let me forget about it. Swami in his discourses has so many times said, you are going on a street, somebody has said something wrong to you, he threw a stone at you, you go to him and say, hello, how are you, my friend? These are words Swami used to say, hello, how are you, my friend? You have to go and tell him. Once you tell him, everything will come down. That is a concept of universal love. Love which has nothing to, you don't expect anything. Does a mother expect the child to do anything for it because the mother loves it? Will the mother think, I love my child, I'm going to nourish my child, provided my child agrees to do massage for my leg? No, mother doesn't think like that. When mother is in great pain, she may tell the child, my leg is paining, would you mind doing some massage for my leg? And if the child does it, mother will be very happy. But if the child doesn't do it, mother will not hate the child. Same way, you don't expect anything. It is one-way traffic, only giving. Love gives and forgets. Whatever you give, you should forget. And ahimsa. Ahimsa is not simply being non-violent, being vegetarian. Ahimsa has something more than that. Trikarana Shuddhi. When there is violence, when your thought, word and deed are at variance. You are thinking one thing, you are saying something else, you are doing the third thing. Imagine the mental conflict that you are subjecting yourself to. You want to do something else, but you are forced to say something, and you are doing some third thing. So your whole psyche is pulled in three different directions. You may externally look very peaceful, but internally there is too much of violence that is taking place. The only way in which you can actually practice ahimsa is to ensure that your thought, word and deed are always the same. You are about to go to a movie. Your mother-in-law tells you, this evening we have guests, so you have to prepare paisam, you have to prepare chitranna, and you have to be at home to serve all the guests who are coming to our house. Now in your mind you are saying, oh, this old lady, doesn't she have anything else? My tickets are booked and I have to go with my friends. So you tell her, no mom, I have to go. I have a class. I have a very important lecture today. Now you see the conflict. The mind is telling you, inside it's telling you, hey, be careful. You're trying to tell lies to your mother. Don't get caught in this conundrum. But your thought is saying, she won't know. How will she know where I'm going? So where is the peace? There can be no peace if you are in that situation. So you have to have sacrifice. You have to have give. And don't expect anything in return. These are concepts which are built into ahimsa. These have to be practiced. What does Swami say? Just see. Swami says, you could be any faith. If you are a Christian, be a better Christian. If you are a Hindu, be a better Hindu. These are tenets which Bhagavan gave with the idea that you would actually live your own religion. And even at the last Mahasamadhi, you saw the Sarvadharma prayer that was there. All the religious leaders were there. The leading religions were represented. And they all made a prayer. So it doesn't make a difference. You see, as from Swami's point of view, he never said that you follow particular rite, particular religion. He never said that. That is why we celebrate every festival in Prasanthi Nilayam. No, is there any festival that we don't celebrate? Every single major religious festival is celebrated in Prasanthi Nilayam. It is possible for a person who does not owe allegiance to any of the religions also to come in and pray to our Swami to say, let me be a better Hindu myself. Give me that grace. Let me be a better Christian if I am a Christian. That's how Swami's message is. Now there are two levels at which Swami says one must work. Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti is individual level. Now your individual level is your puja, your part, you're going to temple, you're going to, you may fast one day, many people fast on Thursday. Now these are all your individual rites which you perform. The other one is collective rites. All of you are going to come together. You're going to do Narayana Seva. Now this individual effort is aimed at moksha. You want to attain moksha. Now what Swami is trying to say all the time, if you see the last 5 years of his talk, you will realize Swami has always been saying that your individual penances and your practices are not so important as your collective action of doing seva. Seva, seva, seva. That seems to be the underscored word in all of Swami's discourses. So we need to look at how we are going to do that. Now let's look at seva. Is it a vain exercise? Empty formality to satisfy your vanity? Publicity? Certainly no. It is the path to God. And as Swami has said, Manav Seva, Madhav Seva. Now these are questions which many people, now in the Sai movement, we have always been self-effacing. We have never gone to the press, we have not made a big announcement to say that we gave food to 500 people. How many of you know that in the last birthday of Bhagavan, the 85th birthday, the number of people that were served free food was nearly 1 million persons. Did you all know it? Even being devotees, many of you didn't know it. 12 days, free food was given. The last day, 2 lakh plus people were given food and water. All the rest of the day, food was given. And did you all see any problems anywhere? Food was given to people wherever they were there. Water was given to them in their own place. Medical attention and relief was given. Medical attendants and doctors were at hand to attend to any problem. And so many people came for birthday, and like Swami always used to say, all of you have come. Who has given you invitation to come? Did I give you invitation? Nobody gave invitation. Why did you come? Because I love you. That's why you came. And you reciprocated by you loving me. People are standing in the queue for 3 hours, 4 hours. They get a seat somewhere. Even if you get a very powerful American binoculars, you won't be able to see Swami. At that distance they are sitting. They're still coming. They're still sitting. Why? It's just that they feel that Swami is a personification of God. Swami is verily the concept of a superior being. He is here for us. He's come for us. That's the feeling that everybody has got. That means we don't tell about ourselves to anybody. So many activities. Those of you who read the Sanatan Sarthi will realize now they're giving it in the last few pages, all the activities in various parts of the world. It's amazing to see, what kind of people from every part of the world, the Latin American countries, they're going to remote places, going and helping people who are in need, who are in distress. Why are they doing all these things? Because Swami's message is going directly to them. They are imbibing Swami's message, that your role is to help and serve other people. By doing that alone, you can be redeemed. Your individual action is not so important. Now, in this context, we look at some of our Hindu scriptures, I may call it, like Ramayana. Now, we recently, Dr. Venkatraman and the Media Foundation have published a set of Ramayana. It's a beautiful compilation, a very modern version of Ramayana. The storyline is of Ramayana, everybody knows. Rama, Sita, forest, she went away, Ravana, finally war, monkeys in the middle. That's it. Everybody knows the story. So when you look at that book, you say Ramayana was same old story. But my request is, please have a look at that book. It is a fund of information. It is a fund of knowledge. It gives you a lot of insight. At important points of time in our lives, we are faced with a dilemma. We do not know what is to be done. What is Dharma? Gurcharan Das has written a fantastic book. The title of the book is The Difficulty of Being Good. It's a book about Mahabharata. And those of you who have had occasion to read it, I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. Those of you who haven't read it, I would regard it as a must-read book. It's a fantastic account of how in various situations, this concept of Dharma is going to trouble you. It troubled the leading personalities of Mahabharata. And they say, Yanna Bharata Tanna Bharati, means that which is not there in Mahabharata does not exist. So it has everything in it. All the human failings are there. All the human problems are there. He's talked about it. The number of Vahinis that Swami has written, and Ramakatha Rasavahini, this book is based essentially on Ramakatha Rasavahini. Number of nuances, every single thing has a message. And message of love, message of how you can improve your situation and what kind of sacrifices a person could make, like Bharata. You must read the book. The idea of service, the idea of sacrifice has to be infused with knowledge. Because if you don't infuse your seva with a sense of knowledge, with a sense of purpose, then it's an empty formality. You're also going in the line, standing, giving something. You've seen some of Swami's clips. I remember going around with Swami so many times, just holding the bucket. Swami is actually taking it, serving, looking at the eyes of the person who's sitting in front. And those people are folding their hands, looking at Swami, thanking Swami. It's not that one or two spoons of food would redeem those people. But it is the love which Swami is showering on them. That should be our attitude. That should be our thinking. Because these centers like these are all meant to recharge your batteries. Because in today's world, just like how our mobile phone gets discharged in the middle of the day, it happens, You have a long telephone conversation, and when your next important call comes, your phone goes dead. So what should you do? You should have a battery charge. So don't forget the battery charge that you're undergoing now. It is important for us to be charged. And that can only be done by attending sessions and doing things collectively. Now many people have asked me, of course I really didn't come prepared to talk a lot about Sai centers, what they can do, but since these questions came from many audiences, I thought I will sort of categorize what could be done. You have to get immersed in the Sai world. How do you do that? If somebody asks you, you come to the Sai center regularly, and somebody lay person, today Bhagwan's name is there in the newspaper, somebody comes and asks you, hey, what's all this? Where's this guy? He's staying somewhere in India, I'm told, guy with the big hair. What exactly was he doing? Was he conjuring up things? Question like that is asked. It's not that the person is asking you in a demeaning way or anything. It's curiosity is asking you. So what should you tell him? If you have to tell him some things, you must first know. So please study and get yourself acquainted as to what you are going to tell the person who asks you this. It happens to me all the time. It happens. I'm sitting in court, somebody, and suddenly someone will walk up to me and says, I read something. What do you say about this aspect? Does Swami really say this? Does he not say this? So we must be aware of what we have to tell them. So being a part of this, I think awareness. You can get awareness by getting immersed in the world. Please read. Instead of reading books which are written by XYZ about Swami, I would suggest that you should cultivate the habit of reading what Swami has himself written. Sathya Sai speaks, available. All the Vahinis are available in print form and in electronic form. It's so much of information, so many insights, so many nuances. Chinna Kathas. These are stories which you can use day to day whenever occasion arises. You can talk about it. Children look at Chinnakatha comics. Something like that. So you have to get immersed. Why do we do all these things? As though we have nothing else to do? Well, we have everything else to do. But we still have a yearning in our heart. And that yearning is that we need to go upwards. Uttarana. Just like God is avatara, means from top He is coming down. We have to go from down to top. And why has God come? It's like He's coming down the staircase, He's giving His hand. You are right at the bottom of the staircase. Take a couple of steps, hold His hand. All of you would have seen Swami so many times. Suddenly in the course of talk, He will just put His hand like this. Recently it happened in the car. He was talking to somebody. We just put His hand very gently like this. You have to be very subtle to understand it and hold His hand. Many times we've been sitting, talking something to Swami. Suddenly when I'm sitting next to him on his chair, you'll find Swami's hand just coming down like this and holding your hand. It is symbolic that I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to hold your hand. You have to only watch for my hand. Extend your hand and grab it. That He is doing. So it's for us now. We have to perceive it. Just look at it like this. We feel very sad. We feel very bad. We are lost. But how many of us had the occasion or the opportunity to sit with Swami and have so much personal interaction? Not many people. In the last 1 year, I can recall not more than 5 persons had personal interaction with Swami on regular basis. Not more than 5. In the years before that, it was different. I remember in the initial years when I was coming, Swami would call an interview of 20, 30, 40 people. Once, my Rotary Club, I don't know what punya the Rotary Club did. All the Rotarians in my club, the year after I was president, they asked me, they said, we want to go for Swami's darshan. So then I told them, see, Swami's darshan is just darshan, don't expect anything. So all of them, no, we are coming. So we all landed up in Prasanthi Nilayam. And I had told them, so some of the guys there, pulling my leg saying, hey, you've also become a tourist devotee now. You're getting tour groups into Swami. So I said, no, nothing like that. These few guys from my club wanted to come. They all came with their spouses. Swami was, fabulous that time. He came out, he saw all of them. Ayyo papam, he said. Bhajan has just started. If I call you now, you can't hear me, I can't hear you. So can I request you to stay till afternoon? So everybody said, yes, we'll stay. Of course, Swami request you to stay means you're in heaven. So All of them stayed. Swami afternoon came, he came exactly at 2:15, he used to come 2:15, 2:20, he came, he called all of us. He spent 1 whole hour with them. He didn't know them from Adam. He asked them, what do you people do in Rotary? What service do you do? Do you have parties very regularly? Then we all told him, no Swami, we have parties also, but we have a free eye hospital, where we do free cataract surgeries. We don't charge anything from the patients. And it's true, it's not just nothing. We do run an eye hospital. A lot of doctors come, some of them do voluntary works, some of them are paid. But we go to the poorest sections of the community. We go to a slum, pick out the patients, examine them, call them in for a check. Then we give them a date, they come in on the day, the lens is implanted, everything is done by us, by the hospital, and everything is completely free. Swami was so happy, He called everybody in, all the ladies got a sari. Why? Just because we were running that eye hospital. This has a message. And he spoke to 2 or 3 people intimately. And those 2 or 3 persons, Swami gave them both rings. And I must tell you, Swami's significance of Swami's every action, every word is very, very important. In the whole group of 25 people, he singled out 2 persons, spoke to them at length, gave them both materialized and gave them rings. And it turned out that both those guys were the guys who were going to be in the deepest trouble in their life. One of them developed cancer, and that guy's immense faith in Swami. We thought we really lost him. I went to see him and gave him vibhuti, gave him this, that, everything. By Swami's grace, the man is perfect now. They said he's not going to survive. We went to Vellore, he did a bone marrow transplant, and he came back. And see his devotion. After the Mahasamadhi, without telling me, all of them, 5 or 6 of them, left Bangalore at about 11 o'clock in the night, reached Puttaparthi at 2 o'clock in the morning, went and stood in the queue themselves, had darshan, and they went back after darshan. And after I returned, everything was over. They called to tell me we came there. I said, hey, I didn't know. You could have called me. He said, no, we knew that you should not be troubled now. You'll have more responsibility. So we did not want to call you. All of them came. Now one was this person. Another person, his daughter was in the US and her marriage had been fixed. So these people asked Swami, daughter, marriage. So Swami just nodded, marriage, daughter, good, he said, and gave him a ring. So the guy got a ring, his daughter got married, and see, the significance is this. In less than a year, there was a problem with the boy. After she came here, they discovered a big, serious issue. They had to separate. They came back to Bangalore. They filed divorce. They got separated. Now in the whole group, all the other guys are just fine. These are the only 2 people whom Swami picked out and gave his particular blessing and favor. So every action of Bhagavan had some meaning in it. So you can't understand all these things when they happen. There's another incident. We were there with a lady. She came and told Bhagavan, Swami, I have a lot of health problems. Doctors say I have heart attack, heart problems. So Swami said, no heart problem, you're okay. Your heart problem will go away, he said, and kept quiet. Then after a few minutes, he said, Swami, my husband, he also has a heart problem. Swami pretended he didn't hear that at all. Just didn't hear it. She went on saying, but he went off to somebody else, talked something. And few months later, this lady had a heart problem. The problem was very minor. But 6 months later, the husband passed away of a heart attack just outside their house before anybody could even give him assistance. This lady had a heart problem. She had a bypass operation. It's now 15 or 20 years since that has happened. She's perfectly alright. She lives on her own, manages her things. Now, at that moment, we were thinking, why Swami, she's telling him something and Swami is ignoring her husband's problem. Now you see in perspective what it is. So every single action of Swami Bhagavan had something in it which was impossible for us to fathom. So really speaking, I think we need to love all. We need to reach out to needy souls. How do you do that? Every day we come across people who are in trouble. Every day we come across people who are distressed. Every day we come across people who need help. It's our duty to help them. See what we can do for them. We must reach out. And all actions must be selfless. I think I skipped one thing to come back to it a little later. Bhajans, naturally we all enjoy it. Not because we just want to sing it. It elevates us. I was recently on a Caribbean cruise And my wife had an iPod, and she put it on the speaker there. And we had in our cabin every day Sai Charanam bhajans. It was elevating, looking at the sea, sitting in our cabin. No, not a thought in the world except thinking of Bhagwan, connecting to him, and all this had happened just so recently. They elevate us completely. They take you to a different plane altogether. Now I'll go back to collective action. That is something which is very, very important. Now in any organization you have leaders. Leaders are selected. Sometimes they are elected. And many organizations nominate leaders. In Sai organization you have the same thing. Once the nomination process is done, it's your duty to fall in line and follow the leader. If your leader takes a decision, sometimes it is individual decision, sometimes a collective decision. Sometimes because he's directed to do something by the higher organizational structure that we have. We have the Prasanthi Council, all of that. He is bound to do certain things. Now, you might say that no, according to me, it should not be done like this. It should be done something else must be done. Then how does an organization work? If all of you say that each of us will face a different direction and sit every day. Why should I face only this side? Swami is everywhere. No, he's there. I'll turn that side and face. It's possible, no? No, there is no limit to this. So my very humble request is please subdue your egos. It is important for us. Every time we want to assert a view and we are doing something which disrupts the harmony of the center, please rethink. Should we do it like that? Is it necessary? No, we all have differences. No, Swami always says, Kalasi Melsi Perugudam. What does it mean? It means let us be together. Let us grow together. Only when we are together, we are going to have strength and we are going to be growing. So it is important for us to always think of working together, forgetting our differences. That is what is most important.
You were listening to the first part of a talk by Sri S.S. Naganand, an eminent lawyer and a member of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, delivered at the Flushing Sai Center in New York on 22nd May 2011.